We ask this and I know we I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, anyone in the audience like to address the board? I need a motion to approve the minutes of October 8th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on October 8th, 2013.
I second that.
Any questions on the minutes? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You have your town clerk's monthly report?
I make a motion to accept the monthly town clerk report for the month of October.
Second.
Any questions on the town clerk's monthly report? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That was good. You got your town of Champlain dog complaint log?
Busy man.
Busy.
Oh,
Strictly for information. Well, the next letter is pretty self-explanatory. It's from the New York State Department of Taxation. They reviewed records. The town has a 4-year plan. This is the last year of that plan. The countywide evaluation was done 2010. The file was maintained for 2012-13. We're going to have to do it again next year. If I'm correct, we have not been receiving any monies for that, Jane, but we will on the reevaluation process.
I guess it's every 3 years. We didn't get it last year, and we're gonna get it this coming year, so 2015.
Okay. And, speaking of real property office, they used to be here on Fridays, and now they're gonna be here on Thursdays. May be here on Fridays, but not necessarily, but somebody will always be here on Thursdays. It's a change from the Fridays. And they're expecting to be here every other every other week on Mondays. But if somebody wants to come in on a Friday or a Monday, they may want to call ahead and make sure somebody's here. More than likely they might be, but you never know, especially on a Monday. They're only going to be here every other Monday. They do expect to be here on Fridays doing field work, so they may not be in the office, so you might want to call ahead. Okay? Thank you. New York State Town Clerks Association, a letter to Julie. They've just elected officials, town officials, coming up in November 12th. If anybody's interested in that, let us know. Okay. I have a hard time going to 7:30 without stalling here.
Congratulations, Brian.
Yeah.
What about John?
Congratulations, you have our deepest
already said
sympathy.
that. Saw him the other day.
Okay. We got 3 things to do for the water and sewer project. We gotta do the negative declaration. You got your copy there, Vicki?
Oh,
I don't know if it's necessary to read the whole thing. I don't believe it is. It's determination of, am I correct, is it unlisted, unlisted action?
No, it's a type 1 unlisted action.
Okay, type 1 unlisted actions. What parts should we have to go through, Mickey, do you know?
Well, basically, it's the long-form environmental impact assessment, seeker form. Part 1 is project information, which was, the engineers filled it all out. Just basically describes the site, the location, general information about the project. That was signed by the supervisor on September 10th, I believe. I got the right copy here.
The project will not result in any large or important.
Well, no, we haven't got that far yet, so that was part one. Now, part two tonight is the project impacts and their magnitude. This has been completed, and you've all gotten copies of this, and you should have had time to review it and go through it. Basically, it asks a lot of different questions about a lot of different things. If you disagree with any of the findings that are in there, now would be the time that you would, state your position on it. If not, then the third part, part three, is the evaluation of the importance of the factors that were identified in part two. There were a couple of significant ones where you had to address them, and those have been addressed in part three. It's all listed here, it can be read, public information. Now, if you agree with everything with that, now you can do this motion that the attorney filled out there, determining the environmental non-significance under the state environmental quality review law proposed establishment of water district number 6. And that's where you would vote that it's a negative declaration with no impacts.
Okay. We've got a few minutes here. If anybody got any questions on any of this? It's strictly requiring there's no environmental impact. Am I correct? That there's no changes to the...
Well, there's nothing that can't be mitigated or taken care of under the course of, there's no major things, no red flags that would
Yes.
come up in the state review, basically, is what it's saying. I mean, there's a few questions in there, are there any endangered species? Well, the state of New York has identified the Indiana bat as an endangered species. There may or may not be Indiana bats around here, but there's no known colonies of them.
I haven't seen any.
No, but I mean, these are some of the questions that were asked where you have to answer them and qualify your answer.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, then we gotta go to, I left 2 sheets on your table, on your desk here tonight. We need to pass a resolution in the matter determining the environmental non-significance under the state environmental quality review law, proposed establishment of water district number 6. Am I right, Mickey? That's the one.
That's correct. That's the
Okay,
first one you need to
resolution
do.
number. Julie, you give it a number to you for your files?
Yeah, I don't have enough room.
Okay.
I'll break that with it.
Okay. Okay. The town board, Champlain duly convened a regular meeting, here does hereby resolve the following. Okay. Do you want, anybody want this all read?
I've read it.
Basically what it's saying is that we agree with,
Project.
the seeker, right, Mike?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
declaration.
Okay. So if that's the case, we need a motion to approve. Could I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the resolution in the matter of determining the environmental non-significance under the state environmental quality review law, the proposed establishment of water district number 6.
I'll second that. And we are proposing it's, no impact, right, Mickey? I mean,
Negative declaration.
negative declaration, okay? If there's any no questions, I need a roll call vote. Richard?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And yes for myself. Motion's carried. Okay. Now, I have another one here. Is this the same one? It's the same one. I have another one. The formation of the district.
Correct.
Okay. You all got that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's also a resolution moved by,
Coming up with this resolution.
Whereas the town board has reviewed the map, plan, and report and proposed water district number 6 facilities prepared by Brady Carr, the competent engineer duly licensed in the state of New York. Okay. We're adopting formation of a water district, District 6. You have all details of it. It is, it has to go 30 days for furtherance of referendum, am I correct?
I think this should be read in the minutes.
Read the whole thing?
I think, I would, yes. Can we read it?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's in the matter of the town of Champlain, formation of water district number 6, resolution number, Julie will assign that. Whereas the town board has reviewed the map, plan, and report of the proposed water district number 6 facilities prepared by Bernier Carr, a competent engineer, duly licensed by the state of New York, and whereas the aforesaid map, plan, and report has been duly filed with the town clerk in accordance with the requirements of Article 12A of the town law, and whereas the town board on November 12th, after due consideration, determined that it is desirable to proceed with the consideration of the proposed formation of the town of Champlain Water District number 6 at a maximum cost of $13,420,000, in pursuance thereof adopted resolution number to be assigned, calling for a public hearing and specifying September 24, 2013 at 7 p.m. as a time when, in the town of Champlain Town Hall located at Route 9, Town of Champlain, at the place where the town board would meet for consideration of the aforesaid subject matter, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same, and for such other action on the part of the town board in relation to the premises as may be required by law, and whereas pursuant to notice duly given by publication and posting as required by 209-D of town law, the town board, upon order of the town board, held a public hearing at the time and place as aforesaid in the manner described, at which all persons interested in the subject matter are given an opportunity to be heard. And whereas the proposed action is the type identified and described in section 617.5 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act as a type 1 listed action, and the town board previously adopted resolution number to be assigned, determining that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment, and authorized and directed the town supervisor to have prepared a notice of no significant environmental impact. Now therefore it is resolved that the notice of the public hearing on the establishment of the proposed district was duly published and posted as required by law, and said public hearing was held on September 24, 2013 to hear all interested persons, and it is further resolved that all properties and property owners within the proposed districts are benefited thereby, and that it is in the public interest to establish said district, and it is further resolved that the establishment of the proposed district as set forth in said map, plan, and report be approved, that the description of the district shall be set forth as Annex Schedule A, legal description, that the improvements herein mentioned upon receipt of funding set forth in the plan and report shall be constructed, and as such district shall be known and designated as Town of Champlain Water District number 6, and it is further resolved that the town clerk be and hereby is authorized and directed to file a certified copy of this resolution in the office of the clerk of the county of Clinton, which is the county in which the town of Champlain is located, and in the office of the state comptroller within 10 days after the adoption of this resolution pursuant to the provisions of section 195 of town law. And it is further resolved that this resolution is subject to a permissive referendum in the manner provided in Article 7 of town law. And it is further resolved that within 10 days of the adoption of this resolution by the town board, the town clerk shall publish in the official newspaper of the town and post on a signboard maintained by the town clerk a notice of permissive referendum, and that such notice shall be sufficient, and a true copy of this resolution is so posted and published. And it is further resolved that within 30 days of the adoption of this resolution, assuming due notice by posting and publication as aforesaid, no petition protesting the establishment of Water District number 6 is filed with the town clerk. This resolution shall be deemed to be final, subject to the permission of the state comptroller to establish the district, and the town clerk shall file in the office of Clinton County Clerk in the office of the State Department of Audit Control a certificate stating no sufficient petition has been filed with her office requesting a referendum, And it is further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately, subject to a permissive referendum. Wow.
Thank you, Ricky.
And now, Phil?
Okay, not to mess anything up here, but can I ask why you're doing this again? Because this was done already. It was done on October 10th, and I've already filed it with the county and everything.
I thought we did it.
When you started reading it,
I just read it, because it was already in our last month's minutes.
yeah,
On September 10th,
on October 10th,
October 10th, oh,
Yeah.
that resolution was passed. Dennis made the motion,
oh my God.
and Steve seconded it. And it's already been filed with the county clerk, because I sent it out to him. I don't know why you're doing it, so it was,
Well, we're going to, I was
yeah.
told the request to do it, okay? So is the 30 days passed? So has it been posted on our board? Was it posted in the paper?
Yes. But I don't think, this was the 10th of October.
Is it because we had to do the,
You had to do the seeker form and find the neg deck before this could be done. And that wasn't done October 10th.
That's right, we thought it was and it wasn't.
Right.
That's why we're starting over again.
Okay,
Right,
now,
remember?
yes.
We did check on the seeker the following
You
day.
couldn't do this before the
And Matt
seeker
Cooper sent
was
us
determined.
an email saying it was done, but it wasn't done. So that's why
Right.
we're doing it
so
over.
we put the horse before the cart?
Right.
The cart before the horse, I should say?
So we gotta do it again, and we're just starting brand new, so we have to pass this resolution.
Okay. You was right, you were right.
You was right, but I read it in our minutes, but then I remember now.
Yes,
that-
Bill
and-
said.
And Oops said that it had been done, and we researched it, and it hadn't
Yeah,
been
we
done.
missed it
That's
by
why
one
we're
day.
starting,
Yes.
that's why we're starting over again. We missed it by one day. Yeah, we missed it by, right, we missed it by one day.
Yep. And we're gonna vote.
We missed it by one day because the seeker was changed, right?
Right.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. There was nothing that anybody did.
We didn't miss it.
We did.
The form changed. The form
Yeah.
changed, the form changed, midnight or something.
So anyway, we need,
Well, we need a motion.
we need motion. Okay.
CYA.
All right, yeah, whatever.
Who made the motion? Yes.
Yeah.
I just have one question, and I'm not sure if Matt answered it or not, but all the debt service from previous water districts gets rolled into water
No.
district number
No,
seven?
no.
Okay, well, these are. The debts stay with the water districts.
Not in this portion.
No.
Not on this motion. That could happen way down the road, but not now. This is a brand-new district we're forming, for Route 11 and the West Service Road.
So the people that are in the current districts
It's not
will pay
affected.
off the debt service?
Pardon?
Will pay off their own debt service, the people in
Right.
their specific,
Right.
their specific districts?
Their debt stays with them.
We're gonna end up with 6 water districts. We talked, this is the 6th one. We talked about consolidating, we have not yet. It'll be our legal advice if we do or not. Then, it'll also be legal advice from our attorney whether we consolidate all the debts or leave them with the present districts. Am I correct, Jim?
I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's the only right thing.
Now, we got some of those districts, one district is way out of the.
Well, Route 11 district is what, $455,000 in
In
debt.
debt.
They have a bond, they have a
Yes.
bond to the
That stays
water
with
and
those people,
sewer.
am I correct?
Pardon me?
That would have to
Yes.
stay with those users only.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So-
then the Little Perry's Mills district has, what's, about $6,300 that they've been paying off. Now, that's indebtedness
Yes,
versus debt.
Yes.
The landfill has a debt of around $23,000 in debt.
that's why we raised those
To
users.
try to come out, gradually come out.
Yes.
But this report, I'm not sure, this funding scenario, it shows like an $8,600. I'm not sure where Matt came up with that, or how he came up with it. Really don't know.
I don't know.
That we couldn't consider consolidation until after this number 6 was established.
Correct.
So, again, we're ahead of the game on consolidation, because this has to be done before we can even consider
We
consolidation.
were told there was some distinct advantages of consolidating all the districts.
Yeah,
For
we-
funding purposes, am I
We
correct?
scored more points in the drinking water revolving fund by opting to consolidate.
Yes.
Yes, but you gotta consider, I mean, Little Perry's Mills, they've got 8 users. They got $6,300 worth of debt. Are they gonna assume a bigger debt when you consolidate?
I don't
That's
know.
all
I
gonna
mean,
get weighed, that has to be weighed in the process of consolidation. I don't know, we don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah. You just gotta look at the data, even though it scores points, so be it. You gotta consider the taxpayer and the users in these little districts.
Right.
I mean, that's
That's
a tremendous
true.
amount of increase,
We do have hopes that district will be debt-free in a few years. I mean, it's,
but do they want more? Would you?
are they gonna get any benefit from the new water tower and stuff
All
like that?
right. I'm asking, I'm just being the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of myself being a Perry's Mills Water District and paying on a debt for 10 years and almost paid off. Now all of a sudden, I have another debt.
And the other thing is, we can't do anything until we finish this up, to find out what could be done. We have to go through this to find out what can be done here, but you have to form this District 6.
That's fine, District 6 can be District 6 with their debt and assigned to those people. But to consolidate and to, combine all the other users, I think it really has to be.
Well,
It was my understanding that each district was gonna maintain their own debt.
Their own debt.
That's the way I always understood it.
That's what we understood.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Any other questions? If not, we need a motion to pass the resolution.
I'll make that resolution again, this one. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions? Roll call vote. Go down the way they got written here. Richard?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And yes for myself. Okay, we take care of that. I do believe we should go. Pardon?
Pay your bills.
It's good. Good as a little cold. Somebody will have to talk to, Bernie Carter Group in the morning, okay, and tell them that we've done this.
Well, I'm sure they're gonna be calling.
Okay. I do need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting, go to public hearing.
You wanna pay the bills?
Well, we gotta go back into, either way, we
Yeah,
gotta
we're
come
not
back.
done.
Yeah, we gotta come back into the public section.
Which one?
It's 7:15,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's not more than
Oh,
that.
okay. Got it.
Need a motion to, go to public meeting, go to public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Budget,
Read this?
yes,
Notice?
yes.
Town of Champlain notice for public hearing upon preliminary budget for the year 2014. Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2014 has been completed and filed in the office of town clerk in Champlain, New York, where it is available for inspection by any interested person at all reasonable hours. Further notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Champlain will meet and review said preliminary budget and hold a public hearing thereon at the town office in Champlain, New York, on Tuesday, November 12th, 2013 at 7:15 p.m. And that at such hearing, any person may be heard in favor or against any item or items therein contained. Pursuant to section 113 of town law, the proposed salaries of the following town elected officials are hereby specified as follows. Supervisor, $19,000. Council members, 4 at $6,150. Town clerk tax collector, $25,432. Highway superintendent, elected, $18,746. Working superintendent, $32,791. Notice is also given that the regular town board meeting will be held immediately following the budget hearing by order of the town board.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, we went through the budget process, it took us several weeks, several meetings. The state law said we had to be within 1.66% tax levy. After many meetings and a lot of considerations, with Jane's help, we made it. We got it down to that. Now,
$40
I
less.
was gonna say, not much less. It's a challenge every year, it's gonna be a bigger challenge every year if that continues. And last year it was a 2%, this year it's 1.66. It's gonna be a real challenge in the future to maintain those things. Okay, because we had posted a notice in the paper, if we wanted to override the cap, we weren't sure a month ago.
Mhm.
And we do not need to do that. We do not need to override the cap. Is there any questions on the budget?
I just wanted to thank Jane for all her work on this. I know it wasn't an easy task, and like Larry said, we must have met a half a dozen times to try to figure out what the best way to approach this. And my thing is, you know, you cut services in order to stay below the tax cap, or you try to balance it. I think that's what we did. We did some cutting, and we did. We balanced it out the best we could with.
It's a very conservative budget.
Yes.
You know, there's not a lot of extras there.
No fluff.
Fund balances are not where I'd like them to be, but they're okay. But we cannot overspend this year. It's just, every big purchase has to be considered if we have the money. Not as it's in the budget, we have to have the money. You know, budget is a wish list. I mean, you can budget anything, but unless there's the funds and the revenues to support it, it just has to be considered.
Yes, and, you know, there's some increases that we have very little control over, such as our health insurance, the retirement plans, the state retirement system. There were two major ones. Union contract, which we must abide by, that is up at the end of next year. We'll be renegotiating that. There's a lot of constraints that we got to abide by. That's the way it is. I mean, it's check and balances systems. But when you can only raise the tax levy 1.66%, it's not very much.
Especially losing assessed valuation.
We lost between $2 and $3 million of assessed valuations. Hopefully that doesn't continue. If that continues, it could be another problem. Okay.
And hopefully the sales tax revenue stays where it is.
Sales tax has been our saving grace here, it really has, and we've used every nickel of sales tax to reduce our tax rate. Every single dime that they projected has been put into the budget. Every single dime. We don't reserve any, we just utilize it. So. And the highway department has been reduced of approximately about $80,000, either through roads or equipment or whatever. We're very fortunate, we purchased, 3 pieces of equipment this past year, paying for one in next year, but our equipment is good, our roads are good, sales tax is coming in, but we just have to maintain and sustain.
Well, the county is very conservative when they give us their estimates. I don't think they've ever been over, have they, Jane? They're always under.
There was one year, I think they were a little bit over, but we had to, you know, fight the
But
bullet
normally they're
and
very
whatever,
conservative
but-
on the figures they give us. So we can pretty well plan on what they
Yes,
project.
they're pretty accurate in what they projected. So,
And it's helped
we're
on,
very fortunate that we're in as good a shape as we are.
the sales tax dollars not only help the town tax rate, they help the county tax rate. They're a big thing.
So,
'Cause you're-
tighten our belts, boys, we're in for a
We'll
good
do our
ride
best,
next year.
Is there any other questions on that?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I just want to echo what Steve said about thanking you, Jane, for all your
Well,
work and,
it comes with years.
I'm sure.
I haven't got much gray hair yet. Any?
Is the 1.6 the town budget or the tax assessment?
No, tax levy.
Tax levy? Oh,
Okay.
excuse me, levy, yeah.
There's a difference there,
Yeah, right.
okay?
So how much is the budget gone up? How much are we spending? Less than that, or,
The total
you
budget.
know, roughly? I don't need to know exactly.
It's $671,821.
It went up?
From last year was, was 646,278. It did go up. Yeah. It did go up.
It's just about impossible for not,
Yeah.
you know, with
25,000,
Yeah,
with the insurances and then retirement. Retirement's a big thing.
The
It's,
retirement went up from 96,000 to 104. That's just one item. And then the health insurance is another big, I'm not sure exactly. Of course, we've had a little fluctuation there with the fellows in the highway department too, between single plan and now family plan, so, you know,
still got a plan for
you have to,
what
yeah,
could happen
yeah.
in the highway department, okay?
So, I mean, those factors, you just don't have a say in or whatever, they're there, so you have to provide something.
Yeah, when you, especially, you buy 2 tires, it costs you $960. So, I mean, that's $1,000, $500 a tire, you may as well say. And you know one thing, I mean, right off, how many tires you've got on those vehicles out there, and,
It's 10 on every big truck,
yep.
you know? Hopefully with the 2 new trucks, we'll have less repair
Yep.
bills, because we took 2 old trucks off the road. They get to the point, they make the dime to get, you know?
Well, yeah, they cost more than what they're worth, and we did sell them, thank God.
Yeah.
It's nothing to put motor or transmission or rear end in them to cost you, several $1,000s. So hopefully with the warranties that we got on the new ones, we won't have that expense on those trucks anyway for a few years. Okay.
And the budget dictates that as well.
where did we lose the 3 million, you said, we lost in assessment? Was there one big factor in that?
It was 2 point something, close to 3. It was for the fiber optics.
Yep.
They're no longer a taxable entity. Hopefully, Steve had said something about possibly they might come back to be assessable or taxable. We don't know, but that's what our the biggest hump.
You're gonna work hard for that, right, Steve?
No, it wasn't our small company that had anything to do with it. My understanding is that there was some wording in the way fiber optics was assessed, that some of the larger entities went after and sued the state of New York, and they had to abide by the law according to the way it was written. And what I understand is that the good old state of New York's gonna rewrite that so that they'll probably come back on the tax rules, but I don't have any firm documentation that states that. It said something about how it's transported, and that did not apply to fiber optics, so that's why it got removed. But I think it'll be back.
Wasn't that assessment, that payment deducted from their franchise fee? Shouldn't their franchise fee now go up accordingly?
We haven't seen it in checks yet.
But wasn't it always deducted from the franchise fee?
Yes, it
They paid
was.
less than the franchise fee because they're paying taxes.
That's correct.
So
But
if they're
yet
paying less than the taxes,
They should pay more.
they should, that same amount should come in the franchise fee.
We haven't seen that in any of the checks.
Well,
Maybe next year.
you should question it and find out.
The thing is, though, with the franchise fee, they just pass that on to the consumer.
Yeah.
That's on your bill.
I know that, but I'm not saying that-
You're paying that franchise fee, that's not coming out of their profits.
I know that. But what I'm saying is, if their total amount they were paying was X dollars, because you added the franchise fee and their assessment together, and now if you're lowering their assessment, I don't think they're gonna lower their bill to the customer, so they should be paying the same total overall,
I understand what you mean.
because if you're taking it out of the assessment pocket, then it should go into their franchise fee pocket, because
We'll do some comparisons.
I would hazard a guess that they're probably not gonna pass that savings along.
I'll hold the money in that bet.
Okay.
Whoever that unmentioned entity is.
Any other questions on the budget? If not, I need a motion to approve the budget. That's presented.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget, preliminary budget,
2014.
2014.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions on the budget? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Steve? Richard?
Aye.
Yes, for myself. Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn the public hearing, go back to public session.
I make a motion to adjourn the public hearing and go to the regular session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Well, let's take up this fire department thing. Richard, Dennis, want to explain this to us?
Actually, all it is, Montgomery Hills Looking Ladder, i.e. Ross Point Fire Department, the company of the fire department, is trying to get a 501c application. And in order to do that, we found that the incorporation papers, when they incorporated, whenever it was, that it did not, it did not include company number 1 in the name. So we need to add that as a change to the incorporation papers before we can file 501c. And because the town board approved the original incorporation documents for the fire company, because I believe at that time we were contracting with them.
Yeah.
The courts are obligating that the town, the village has already done this, so now the town has to do it as well. We were notified today that they need town approval because the town approved the original incorporation. Even though we don't have anything to do with Montgomery Hills, they're requesting that we at least approve the name change.
May I assume that you're making that motion?
I will make that a motion, that we go ahead and approve this request from Montgomery Hills.
Awesome. No, go ahead. You were a word ahead.
Second, that is the motion.
Okay, any questions on this? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I just, I'm gonna need the original copy with the notary, so I can send it to the attorney tomorrow. Thank you.
On Wednesday, December 11th, a couple weeks from now, a month from now, really, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m., there's a meeting for code enforcement officers and planning boards, zoning boards, I guess. We'd like to have permission to send Nikki and those boards who wish to go. There's code officers may receive 2 credit hours of in-service credit, so he needs credit hours anyways in Traeger and Plattsburgh.
So fee?
Doesn't say so, do you know, doesn't say there's a fee.
That's all I got right there.
Yeah, doesn't say
Usually
there's a
there's
fee.
not.
Usually there's something, but either way, we
Right.
need to do it, that's my feeling.
What's
Need a motion?
December 11th would be the day after our next meeting, but we'd like to prove it way ahead of time.
It's for the changes in the new seeker forms that came out. That's why planning board and zoning board members should go to that.
Okay. Will you notify both of those boards
Yeah.
if anybody wants to go? Okay.
I make a motion that we send the necessary people to attend the meeting. If there's an expense
Okay.
incurred.
Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Who did the second?
I second it.
Oh, you did.
There's a sign-up form, either fax or email. I give the telephone number at the bottom of the page. If you want to call in, see if there is a fee. Okay.
Thank you for the report.
Okay.
Your report.
Okay, we need to set a public hearing for zoning, new zoning laws that we've been reviewing for several weeks and months now.
We did that already.
Pardon?
We did that already.
When?
We did it at the meeting on the 7th.
Thursday.
We scheduled it.
So we're gonna have it for the next,
Before the next meeting.
You gotta advertise that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
The fire department, zoning board members, it's all on the list then.
We're doing it the same night.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I don't expect that to be a lengthy thing, I don't know, but, okay.
have you guys gotten any, you got the changes, the exact wording that he did for the changes?
Yes, I have those on my computer.
Could I get a copy?
Yes.
Or is it posted?
Well, it's on my computer, if you're on his list, you should have gotten it.
I did.
I'll give you a
I did
copy
not.
tonight, for you later.
Perfect, thank you.
I need to.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I can do that. I think I copied it today to give Mickey. You got that?
Yeah, I got it.
Can you copy, 4 copies before you leave?
Yeah.
Give to those guys, okay.
Yeah, copy me a copy on the planning board thing too.
Yep.
I'll
Larry's got, yeah, you got it.
So you have your code officer's monthly report for October. It was on a desk, and I have not seen it before this evening. We just turned it
Good
in.
report.
Just turned it in today.
We'll wait till he comes
Wait till
back.
he comes back.
Okay.
That's a report.
We are gonna pay the bills here soon, so you wanna review those?
All been reviewed.
Scott Allen called me today. I don't know if he had any feedback. I told him, you know, what he wrote up, which you'll be getting in a few minutes, is exactly the way they left it here on last week. We need to thank Scott, he put a lot of time in, the board members that
Yeah.
contributed to that.
Yeah.
Tell you what, those guys did a great job.
Yes, they did.
That fella's really patient. With all the noise we had in here the other night, he never lost his cool. He was very.
Scott Allen is
Very,
phenomenal.
very good.
And the board members put in,
What is
I
it
can't say,
EAAC?
I can't say they did it several weeks or several meetings, they did it for several months and years. Doing that business for 3 years, okay? And it boiled down to 2 issues, which were really bad, and we came to some reasonable conclusions that week. Alan could not make it here this evening, he called me this afternoon. There was not really a lot to say, he's prepared, he's got 2 Sanders on. He was a little worried about the black ice this morning, I guess it was not. Maybe it was cold.
Yeah, Al called in a couple of the men on Friday there, that's their day off right now.
Oh, yesterday.
We loaded up a couple trucks, we figured it was gonna be freezing rain the other night. The man's on the ball, he's preparing for everything.
Yeah.
I thought we deliver, you know.
Yep.
Make sure he's ready to go. It was a good job.
I know of more committee reports, building grants. You can review your post audit bills, Alan, hear a motion now, we'll pay the monthly bills off.
I make a motion to pay the monthly bills as they're listed.
Do I have a second?
You got a second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions on the monthly bills? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Pay our bills. Okay.
It's gonna be a while figuring that out.
What's that?
It's gonna be a while figuring all that stuff out.
Well, does anybody else, we can tell them about this before we get back in the room. Does anybody else have anything else to bring before the board? Did I miss anything, Dave? You got anything extra? Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Best news I heard all evening.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Turkey Day.
Do I have a second to adjourn?
I'll second that motion.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
One more meeting, Dennis.